Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. The 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge, success. Bolan, I'll take the lead. Luo Feng smiled and rushed into the sky, headed towards the 8th level. At the end of the Heavenly Bridge's 8th level, Luo Feng looked at the floating meteorite. Every 3 levels of the bridge is a breakthrough level. However, towards the end, it gets harder and harder, like the levels 19, 20 and 21, passing the 21st would make one a knight, an eternal being on the same level as the universe country leader. The 20th and 21st levels are incredibly difficult. From the 7th to 8th, the difficulty may not be as jarring as from the 6th to 7th. However, it was still definitely more than from the 5th to 6th. Trying the 8th level at universe level 9, you are indeed exceptional. Right now, in the virtual universe company universe level, there's only one who has passed the 8th level. The blue armored man stood on the dark cloud shuttle, his eyes smiling behind the mask. Receive this. Rumble. The blue armored man's dark golden long rod shot out 10 million gold lights. Luo Feng did exactly the same thing, as simultaneously, countless little golden blades shot in all directions, immediately connecting with the space and gold laws. The land and skies changed in color, and in an instant the entire surroundings were filled with blade energy. Still the same 6th level, own world. Rumble. The blue armored man controlled his blade world and violently smashed over. Immediately Luo Feng's side began to crumble and split apart. The blue armored man's blade world, however, was still growing. Not good. Luo Feng's expression changed. He became a beam of light, wielding the blood shadow blade and rushing at the enemy. A dark golden blade energy formed right before his eyes and pierced right through his head. Luo Feng lost, the 8th level, failure. I actually lost like that. Luo Feng sat in his study, still shocked from before. According to the information I've seen, this should be the Blade World's omnipresent level. Nanshan Armament 6th level, Blade World was a very terrifying attack. Just like the 1st level, forming one golden blade, up till 9. The Blade World too had different levels. Luo Feng was currently only at the start of controlling it, and was able to condense one thread of the blade energy. He also had to be in close range to the enemy to do it. Because, as he got further away, the control would weaken, he still couldn't control it at will. However, the 8th level opponent did it easily. He gathered his blade energy in an instant and killed Luo Feng. One had to reach a level of control of the blade world where one could easily do what he wanted, to make the blade energy omnipresent. The reason for my failure is due to the blade energy of the opponent being omnipresent, and I couldn't even defend. Even though he had passed the 7th level, he wasn't proud at all, but continued his studies as per usual. Virtual Universe Heavenly Bridge. Watchman Bevan stared wide-eyed, muttering, the humans of the universe have trillions of races, I've already seen many geniuses. This Luo Feng, however, he actually exceeded Bolan. Bolan's talent was incredibly shocking to countless people before. Interesting, this is getting interesting. After which, Bevan sent out the news of Luo Feng completing the 7th level to the people involved, also sending it out to all Absolute, Beginning and Primal Region members. Yuseong Mountain, Primal Region, Long Yun's training grounds. In the vast training grounds, Long Yun knelt on the floor, smashing fists after fist against the hollow ground. Rumble. The ground shook and his expression was heavy. Every hit smashed the ground more, until a crater was formed. I said before that I would return proudly to Swelling Water Universe country. I said that I would become an absolute warrior in the universe. I said that I would always remain within the primal region. Long Yun gritted his teeth. His eyes were filled with veins. Why, back then Luo Feng and I weren't too different in levels. However, right now I'd just passed the 5th level and is already past the 7th. I won't accept it. I won't accept it. Long Yun grit his teeth. Calm, I need to remain calm. He closed his eyes and muttered softly, yes, one step at a time. I cannot let him affect my emotions. If I am distracted, I'm bound to fail. I need to remain calm, calm. Long Yun was a very low-profile person, yet no one truly dared look down on him. He was silent. He had been alone all this while. In his genius competition batch, his talent may have ranked only 20th or 30th, but his improvement speed was just as fast as Wuka's. Similarly, within the primal region, Bolin was in his villa. Bolin wielded the blood blade in his hand and he casually swung it about. However, he suddenly frowned and gently tapped the screen before him and a mail opened. Luo Feng, successfully passed the 7th level. Bolin gently read it out, after which he completely froze. The blood blade fell onto the floor. The crash actually awoke Bolin suddenly. He passed. He surpassed me. Bolin didn't even care about the blood blade on the ground, silently walking into his living quarters and into his study. He sat crossed-legged and stared at the photo hanging on the wall. It was of an old man teaching a youth. He sat silently. Not a sound was muttered. There was a very crowded spot in the absolute beginning region, the arena. The area was a public arena where geniuses would often gather to spar against each other, even wagering on the matches. Naturally, both sides would wager on their fights. After all, the deaths in the virtual universe were fake, and no one dared bet too much on others. Your Majesty, I think you should give up. Your Majesty Wuka, you've already lost 8 matches today. Any more, you'll still end up losing. A group of universe-level absolute beginning members watching the matches mocked and laughed. In the arena, Wuka was lying flat in the corner of the arena. His head was filled with blood, as he lay there breathing heavily. Shut up, all of you! He roared fiercely. He stood up abruptly, as fresh blood stained his face red. He stared hard at the group of spectators below the arena. I'm not dead yet. After which, he stared at the distant youth with silver-white scales on his face. That youth snorted coldly. Your Majesty, you've already lost 8 consecutive matches. I think you should just leave. Bullshit. Wuka roared. Rumble. With a stomp, his entire being rushed straight against that youth, closing in until there was only 10 meters left. In his hands, 2 short axes appeared. He waved one of them and swung it directly at the youth. The youth with the silver-white scales immediately dodged and left 100 images. With a rumble, he immediately grabbed one of Wuka's arms and swung him around, smashing him straight into the ground. Get lost. Wuka's other axe immediately slashed right through his own captured arm, and he flung that axe straight at the youth, causing his expression to suddenly change as he dodged as fast as lightning. However, there was a slash wound left on his chest already, as fresh blood flowed. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Wuka stood there, his left arm grabbing the axe. Fresh blood flowing from his broken right arm, yet he laughed loudly. He held the axe and pointed with his left hand at the youth. Mo Yi Lin, didn't you proudly declare like an idiot before, that I wouldn't be able to even touch you, ha ha. The youth gritted his teeth, staring at Wuka. You madman. Ha ha, madman, Luo Feng of our absolute beginning 3 heroes is the true madman. I cannot compare to him. Wuka laughed loudly, after which he turned to face the group below. He pointed at them. All of you listen, the 8 of us are new here. Haven't you all just trained a few thousand years more than us? What's there to be proud of? Yet, all of you are so arrogant, saying I, Wuka, cannot even hurt any one of you. I've only just passed the 5th level and you've all passed the 6th. Don't look down on us new people. After he finished, he jumped straight off the arena. The group at the side of the arena, there were 8 that were gathered. The leader was a man in a silver-grey long robe. He said coldly, Wuka is indeed a Manka warrior, intrepid. However, newbies are still newbies. During this qualification battle, all 8 of you are entering the land and sky region. Only about 10 of the members in that region have reached the 6th level. The group of universe-level geniuses all received a mail simultaneously. We've all received something. Who sent it? Open it. The group of senior universe-level members in the absolute beginning region all opened the mail. What, 7th level? Luo Feng. It's Luo Feng of the 8 newbies. Many of the geniuses couldn't help but get shocked. The 6th to 7th level was too difficult, even though they were geniuses that had trained for thousands of years. Only 5 of them managed to pass the 7th. The rest were still stuck on the 6th. Luo Feng. Wuka, who was just about to leave, heard, quickly opening the mail and reading the contents. He immediately stared with glee and surprise, following which he pointed at the group of seniors and laughed loudly. You bunch of bastards, have you seen it? What a genius is, what a true genius is. What about us newbies? We've only trained 100 years, what about it? Yet we are able to pass the 7th level, what about it? Ha ha, you all better remember the name Luo Feng. He's one of the 3 heroes of the absolute beginning region. Wuka smiled wide. The group of seniors all went silent. Luo Feng. The silver-grey robed man squinted his eyes, glancing at Wuka, who was wielding the blood-stained axe and leaving. To be able to pass the 7th level, I have to check him out properly. Our attempt to rush into the primal region this time, this Luo Feng has already become a threat. The honor secret region of the Universe Mercenary Alliance was akin to the Virtual Universe Company's primal region, and absolute beginning regions, a secret region, which was excavated and remodeled. On a secret region, there was a desolate large planet. It was called Hell Arena. A skinny wolf-like man, with yellow fur and green eyes, gazed into a distance while standing on a stone. Suddenly he frowned, his brown eyes gleaming green. Luo Feng. This new batch is pretty impressive. However, the slot for the primal region is mine. Virtual Universe, Primal Region, Bolan's training grounds was currently an ice land. There was enough snow to bury a person up to his knees. Bolan sat crossed-legged in the snow, topless with his eyes shut. Bolan. A cold voice resounded. Bolan stood up and the snow fell in all directions, and he turned to look. A tall and skinny man, with eyes like a venomous snake, and a body rippling with origin laws, appeared in the ice land, gazing over him. Luo Feng has already passed the 7th level. Why are you not affected by it? Teacher. Bolan bowed, not speaking more. Primal region members had an undying specially catered to teach them, and according to their needs, they can even change for a different undying teacher. This one before him was an official level undying. Stupid, what a joke. The man's cold eyes gazed at Bolan. Are you so stupid that you are still insisting on your old ways? Teacher, I've thought it through. Bolan bowed. Speak. The cold man said. I admit I was too proud before, and too overconfident. Bolan said softly. The study of the Universe Primal Chaos Tablet. I've decided to focus on the space laws. That's wise. The cold man revealed a smile. Just like how a parent who makes a decision for their children, but they are obstinate in their ways. However, when the child grows up and discovers that the path his parent chose for them is the right choice. One theory. Bolan's decision was a wise one. When he was young, many warriors weren't as talented as he was, hence his choice had always been right. However, with regards to the problem of which tablet to pick in Primal Chaos City, the ones giving him advice were Undyings, and even Universe country leaders were afraid of the geniuses falling. Undyings and even Universe country leaders, just how high were their perspectives? Their long eternal lives has resulted in them seeing how many generations of geniuses pass. Their suggestions were a result of their experience. Maybe. If Bolan continued down this path, in 10,000 years, 100,000 years, a million years, he would still become an absolute warrior amongst the Undying. However, Luo Feng of the same generation would have far left him in his dust. Your space talent is the most absurd I've ever seen. The cold man said. Even compared to the legendary geniuses of before, just your space talent is top class. Your decision is very wise. You should celebrate having such a rival like Luo Feng in the same generation. Because of him, he's shocked you. The cold man said. Bolan was silent, his eyes however gleamed in a new way. Luo Feng. Since you've made the decision, then we'll begin according to the plan I've constructed. The cold man said. The Universe Tablet was one that trained in space and time. However, over 1 trillion years, just how many were able to work on both space and time and improve at the same speed? Hence, there were 3 ways to study the Universe Tablet. One of them was to have time as the main and space as secondary. Another was space as the main and time as secondary. The last was training both at the same time. If the third option was accomplished, one would definitely be absurdly powerful, and Bolan had picked this third option before. But right now, he was picking to let space be the main and time as the secondary. Once the path was chosen right, the improvement speed would be shocking. Luo Feng. Luo Feng, hurry over. Madman, come to Wuka. Luo Feng, who was studying the 3rd volume of Time-Space Scribbles seriously, immediately received the many messages from Wuka and Rong Jun. The two of them were worried about disturbing his training, hence they sent messages. The virtual assistant Barbata would report to Luo Feng according to his situation. The both of them, why are they looking for me so urgently? Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. After which he flew out his balcony and into the sky, gazing at the not too distant Wuka's villa. Within the living room, Wuka and Rong Jun sat there, facing the table with wine on it. Madman is here. Rong Jun stood up. Luo Feng, Luo Feng. Wuka was the first to rush out and welcomed him with a bear hug. What's up? Luo Feng was shocked as he dodged to the side, smiling as he looked at Wuka. Why so friendly? Madman, you are too awesome. Wuka grabbed Luo Feng's arm and dragged him into the living room. Luo Feng saw the exquisite wine on the table, especially with the two complex words Thunder Rain. He was shocked. Wuka, you stingy punk actually bought Thunder Rain wine. Thunder Rain wine, in reality, it was something even true Yang Emperor couldn't bear to drink casually. Even in the virtual universe, this one bottle alone cost 32 mixed elements. Meaning that this one bottle was the equivalent of an entire sector lord's wealth, drinking 10 galaxies in one go. However, amongst Luo Feng, Rong Jun and Wuka, there was no doubt Wuka was the most wealthy. There was no other way about it, his father had such a high position. Wuka's father was one of the pinnacle figures in the Manca universe country. However, even so, he wouldn't dare spend money this way. What's one bottle of wine? Wuka said passionately as he gently opened the cork off the bottle and pouring a glass for Luo Feng. The liquid was translucent, with crystal-like droplets floating within, and the droplets had traces of electricity coursing through them. Even though this bottle of wine didn't have the same effect as changing one's body structure in reality. However, from the body and soul, the feeling was the same. Drinking it in the virtual universe was an extreme luxury. It's just one bottle. Brother, you've passed the 7th level. That's awesome, thrilling, thrilling. Wuka couldn't help but shout. Oh, you all know about it. Luo Feng was stunned. Madman, you are shameless. Beside, Rong Jun couldn't help but say as he enjoyed the wine. Truly shameless, you actually never told us about this. Luckily Watchman Bevan sent a message to all of us. Wuka said. Damn. Luo Feng stared, this Bevan actually. Ha ha ha, the message came at the right time. Wuka said, you didn't see, since the time the virtual universe sent the message regarding the qualification battles, the seniors in the absolute beginning region, who were peaceful before suddenly got arrogant and feisty. Everybody is competing to not get kicked into the sky and land region. Wuka shook his head. Those seniors look down on the 8 of us, who are new. I was unhappy with it, hence I constantly challenged them to battles. Frequently battle. Luo Feng was stunned. Wuka had just passed the Heavenly Bridge 5th level. But, amongst the 30 universe level seniors, 5 of them had passed the 7th level, and 25 had passed the 6th. Why cannot I compete? Our Manca people have never lowered their heads and admitted defeat. Even if we lose temporarily, we'll return to battle again. Wuka snorted coldly, those group of bastards are all arrogant. In the end, they were still injured by me. However, this is still not thrilling. The thrilling part was, when that group saw that letter and the news of you passing the 7th level. You didn't see their expressions, that was exciting. Many just stared wide-eyed with shock. Wuka laughed loudly. Back then I was mocking and laughing at them, they couldn't even retort. That's truly thrilling, hence I bought a bottle of Thunder Rain to celebrate the achievements of us newbies, and also the number 1 person of our batch. Temporarily number 1. Rong Jun smiled beside and glanced at Luo Feng. Temporarily number 1. Wuka nodded. Luo Feng laughed. The reason why he got along well with these two was because of their one similarity, which was that they were never willing to admit defeat. They may temporarily be lagging behind, however no one would give up and instead constantly improve. Wuka, Rong Jun, I are ready to accept another mission. Luo Feng said. However, my knowledge of the missions is very low, do you have any suggestions? The missions, naturally the higher the difficulty, the more shocking the points. Wuka said. I have some suggestions. I've already finished the 10 missions for my 100 years. Rong Jun said, and these were all suggested by my teacher. The 3 of them began their discussion. Luo Feng's plan was to first pass the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. And after, grasp the time to go do some missions. Through real-life battles and along with the training environments, he would be able to improve himself. Through that first Blood River World mission, he had gained huge benefits, he wasn't intending to do any random mission, that simply. Every mission had to have some great benefits hiding behind. It all depended on whether he could get it or not. Of course, the prerequisite was strength. The three of them chatted for a while. Luo Feng finally had a clearer plan of how to choose his missions. This wine is really good. This feeling is even more wonderful than the life evolution, when I broke through to the universe level. Luo Feng closed his eyes, feeling the change in his body and soul. That comfortable feeling, of course these were all simulated by the virtual universe company. The real thunder rain was something even Wuka couldn't afford in reality. And even people like Truyang Emperor, Tongnan Emperor, these eternal beings, they would only purchase such luxuries once every countless years. This wine is awesome. It's time I attended classes. The class today is taught by an emperor undying, which fits me well. Luo Feng got up. I won't send you off. Go on. Rong Jun and Wuka lay in the sofa, enjoying the delicious wine, not willing to get up. Training should be harsh, but one should still indulge occasionally and enjoy the luxuries of life. These two punks. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head, after which he became a beam of light and flew straight into the sky. At this time, within another villa in the absolute beginning region. Today's class talks about space and gold, the fusion of these two laws. That Luo Feng will definitely go. Mo Yilin, Asha, you two should go attend the class too and find a way to challenge Luo Feng to feel him out. Once we know what moves he has, we'll be prepared, and when the qualification battles come, it'll be much easier. The man dressed in the silver-grey robe said, Absolute beginning region, classroom number 2. The room was 80 kilometers long and 60 kilometers wide. This was bigger than a normal city of Earth, yet this was only a place for an undying to teach. There were over 1,000 seats at the back of the classroom, and beams of lights occasionally flew in to fill the seats. Luo Feng appeared before the seats too, and picked one casually from the left. Look, it's Luo Feng. He's Luo Feng from the newest batch of geniuses. Looks pretty handsome and strong. He hasn't been in the virtual universe company that long and he already passed the 7th level. He seems very strong. We are only on the 8th level, but we are already domain lord level. In the corner, two ladies, one with beautiful wings and another with eyes filled with enticement, discussed with hushed voices. They weren't shy at all, and looked passionately at Luo Feng. The other members in other places were all discussing too. That's Luo Feng. Right, it's him. That punk is brutal. Back when I was at universe level, the highest I got was only the 7th level. And that was over 3,000 years after joining the virtual universe company. According to his improvement speed, he has no chance of entering the primal region this qualification battle. But by the next one, maybe there's hope. As long as he has a few thousand years, he definitely has a guarantee of making it into the primal region. Two sector lords sitting in the corner were discussing. Discussions were rampant. It seemed the moment Luo Feng sat down, the entire classroom number 2 with close to 100 students all began to discuss him. Luo Feng became the center of attention. To be able to in such a short time, pass the 7th level, even before the first qualification battle, only absolute geniuses were capable of such things. Luo Feng sat silently there, his ears moving slightly. He clearly heard all the discussions. I've become a zoo animal. Luo Feng felt helpless within. How do you do, Luo Feng? A boorish voice resounded. Luo Feng turned to see a bent body with a forehead with 6 protrusions, and his skin was covered in black fur. This man sat a few meters away from himself. While looking at Luo Feng and smiling, he said, I'm Suo Dragon, domain lord level. Today, I've heard many discussing about you, however, you are indeed impressive. Thanks. Luo Feng replied. Within, however, he was laughing. According to the separation, the absolute beginning region had 1,000 sector lords, 100 domain lords, 30 universe levels. He was one of the new 8, making the entire number of the region go up to 1138. However, after the qualification battle, the numbers would return back to 1130. Just from the looks of it, the number of sector lords were the highest, and most of the people in this classroom too were sector lords too. Very few of them were domain lords, and the universe level numbers were very pitiful. Including Luo Feng, there were only 4 of them. This alone had made him shocked, because there were usually only 2 universe levels attending the classes. Today, there are 2 more universe level members here. Luo Feng thought. Absolute beginning members have a very low chance of making it into the primal region. Suo Dragon said softly, my friend and I were discussing, saying that you will have hopes of making it in a few hundred years. Our absolute beginning region, very rarely will one ever make it. Every time such a thing happens, it makes us all excited. Even if you are only one step ahead of everyone, this will eventually lead to you being more steps ahead of everyone. The earlier one gets into the primal region, the faster the improvement. Suo Dragon seemed to be exclaiming while speaking. Luo Feng to glance at him, if you work hard, you too will have the chance of making it into the primal region. Ha ha. Don't laugh at me. For me to remain in the absolute beginning region, in the next qualification battle, is not bad already. Suo Dragon shook his head, and his eyes were filled with helplessness. If I drop to the sky and land region in the next qualification battle, then, my position outside will drop too. What a headache. The Domain Lord Corps members, they were placed outside with authority and position. According to Luo Feng's way of thinking, they were placed as envoys in territories. However, Primal Region members, Absolute Beginning, Sky and Land members, Last Phase members, their treatment outside was completely different. When the Primal Region members ventured outside, just their guard team had an undying leading the army. The position they are finally arranged for is also according to their rank. If one was originally a Primal Region member, but knocked back into the Absolute Beginning region, then the position would shift accordingly, even the Undying General would be shifted away, and a Sector Lord would take his place. This punk sure is unlucky. When he went out as an envoy, he must have been quite powerful. However, with his chances of getting knocked into the Sky and Land region, his position will definitely shift and his rank will drop. Luo Feng laughed within. Regardless, he chatted for a while with this guy, and came to know of some of the things the envoys frequently encountered outside. After a while, the Undying teacher arrived and began his class. Immediately the room went silent. Even if they wanted to discuss, they had to communicate it mentally, they definitely didn't dare disrupt the class. There were a total of 4 universe-level students, of which one of the 2 had a face full of silver scales, and the other had bronze-colored skin, while his forehead with a single black horn. Asha, look, this Luo Feng is listening quite seriously. The silver-scaled man communicated. The black-horned man looked at the left corner, in which Luo Feng was seated. Mo Yilin, Ni Nan has told us to find a reason to challenge him and feel him out. How do you think we should do it? If we find trouble with him and he doesn't care at all, and leaves the virtual universe, then we'd just look stupid. Relax, I have a plan. The silver-scaled man squinted, like a venomous snake, we'll do this first. It seems simple. The black-horned man frowned after listening. What else can we do? There's no 100% guarantee plan. The silver-scaled man said. All right, when the class ends, we'll head over. The horned man nodded. After speaking to the class for a while, under the gaze of the absolute geniuses, the Emperor Undying vanished. Luo Feng closed his eyes and tried to savor every bit of the lesson earlier, before opening and seeing the 2 men before him. One of them had silver scales on his face and other was a sturdier-looking man with a black horn on his head. Their similarity was that the 2 were universe level. The 2 of them looked at Luo Feng. And you 2 are? Luo Feng sat there looking at them. How do you do, Luo Feng? I'm Mo Yilin. The scaled man smiled. Luo Feng, I am Asha. The black-horned man smiled. We are both like you, universe-level members, only we joined the virtual universe company earlier. Is there something you 2 wish to say? Luo Feng frowned. Towards the universe-level seniors, Luo Feng didn't have much of a good impression. Because, as he chatted with Wuka the day before, Wuka had explained many things and even though he didn't specifically point out anyone, there were only a total of 30 seniors, and Wuka had trouble with at least half of them. We know that you've passed the 7th level, respect. The silver-scaled man's eyes gleamed. I, Mo Yilin, love battles. Hence I'd like to have a go with you at the arena, just a friendly spar. I too would like to spar with you. The black-horned man looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng frowned. Battle. If it was for training, he could easily simulate very powerful opponents in the training grounds. Battling people, however, was mostly just for seeing who was better or finding out his trump card. When you know your enemy, that's when one can stay invincible. They probably have never fought with me, hence they don't know my battle tactics and my trump cards. Even though there's footage back from the genius battle, I was still very weak back then. I'm countless times stronger than back then. The footage back then doesn't reflect my true strength, hence they came to challenge me. Luo Feng understood immediately. Apologies, I have no interest. Luo Feng stood to leave directly. The Black Horned Man and the Silver-Scaled Man exchanged glances. They knew they had to rely on their second plan to challenge him. Ha ha, Luo Feng, you are the number one person in the new batch. I didn't expect your guts to be that small. The Scaled Man said. If you don't even dare to accept our challenge, it looks like this new batch really has no hope. The Black Horned Man said. That stupid Wuka, he's so much weaker, but he still keeps challenging us. Luo Feng, you are strong, yet you don't dare to do the same. This qualification battle, you newbies should just give up immediately. The groups of sector lords and domain lords in classroom 2 listening to the class, before all turned over with interest. Most of them favored Luo Feng, because he was indeed shocking. However, that was only because their levels were different. They were sector lords and domain lords. They had no business messing with Luo Feng at this time. Naturally they were indifferent. The two who are challenging really have no class. No class at all. If it were me, I'd be too lazy to bother too. Both of them are clowns. The sector lords and domain lords discussed, with some of the sector lords' voices being extra loud. Immediately the expressions of the Scaled Man and the Black Horned Man turned uglier. Luo Feng, however, stopped in his footsteps. This made the sector lords and domain lords shocked. Was Luo Feng about to accept their challenge? Was he so easy to provoke? Luo Feng turned to look at the two of them. The Scaled Man and Black Horned Man discovered his gaze was hostile. Wuka battled you too. Luo Feng looked at them. You mean that Manka Prince? The Scaled Man mocked. Besides, the Black Horned Man too joined in. That idiot, he battled us and was severely punished for it. Congrats to you too. Luo Feng said. The Scaled Man and the Black Horned Man were stunned. Congrats. I didn't wish to battle you two initially, because I didn't wish to waste any time on you. Luo Feng looked at the two. However, now, you've riled me up. I've decided to accept that challenge this time. The Silver-Scaled Man Mo Yilin and the Black Horned Arsha, they heard the rage from Luo Feng's voice. Even though they were acting on Ni Nan's orders to provoke and challenge him, they were still ultimately geniuses of humanity from over 1 trillion years. Otherwise, how would they have entered the absolute beginning region? Geniuses were all proud. Waste of time. Battling them was a waste of time. This was said by a newbie that hadn't entered the virtual universe for too long. Part 1 end here.